Welcome back, everyone. Do apologize for that little debacle we had with the last one. Once in a blue moon, it happens. It's happened. I think the last time it happened was like several months ago. It happens every now and then. Basically, no control over it. MacBook in general, and Apple products, sometimes they just go black. They just freeze and freeze up out of nowhere, and it's really something you can't control. Certainly, there's benefits with Apple. Certainly, it has its downsides. But do apologize for that. But we'll basically just do the entire thing over again. We'll basically just do the entire live over again. I see we have some familiar faces already, some people hopping on and some likes. Again, I do apologize for what happened with the last stream there. We'll just basically do it over again so that way everyone can see it, because when it froze, sometimes it doesn't reach everyone, and the people that didn't see it, they won't ever see it, because unless you click done with the live, it doesn't actually upload, and it could be stuck on processing forever. So you might as well just do it the whole thing over again. So that's okay. It's not like we did any crazy acrobatic tricks on this live, or threw flames or anything that needed to be done one shot. It's okay. We could do a take two. Perfectly okay. So thank you so much everyone for joining back with me. This is Wednesday. This is our Wednesday stream in the afternoon. We have Jin, we have Gakara again, Rep and Time Fitness. Good to have you on. Longtime fans, fantastic. Oh, I didn't even say it yet, and you already did. Thank you so much. Yes, if you are first joining us, go ahead and smash the like button. You know the drill. You know what to do. And make sure to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Make sure you have notifications turned on. That will notify you when we do upload a brand new video, go live, post a brand new update, especially with what happened here tonight. When the live stopped and cut off, if you didn't have notifications turned on, you wouldn't have been notified that we went live again to do it over again. So very important to have notifications turned on, to say the least. Hello, Big Tie TV. Good to have you on here. So yeah, we'll basically just do the entire live over again, start from scratch. So, you might have already seen some of this. That's perfectly okay. You could stay with us, stick around, because certainly, we wouldn't get through every last bit of information. But yeah, I'm going to be repeating some of the information that we just did on the live that got cut off. Sorry about that. One more time. So we'll start from scratch. Let's get the ball rolling, dive right into it. Again, as far as the Federal Reserve and stimulus, the Federal Reserve, they're not ready to take their foot off the gas pedal, the stimulus gas pedal just yet, but that could soon change with Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell's most recent comments. So if the economic recovery continues to progress as expected, the Fed, quote, judges that a moderation in the pace of asset purchases may be soon warranted, according to the bank's policy update published on Wednesday today. This is breaking news coming just today. Hello, good to have you on. Fantastic. The central bank could also lift interest rates as early as next year, according to an updated projection, as opposed to waiting until 2023, as previous forecasts have called for. Now, with the Delta variant raging, right, and the pandemic is not nearly behind us, this is not, exactly what we wanted to hear from the chairman. Perhaps we wanted to hear a little bit more optimistic language, as far as interest rates and stopping pumping money into the economy and purchasing of assets in the economy from the federal chairman. But he certainly has a big job to do, and that's his decision, and he has come to that conclusion. Of course, when the pandemic started to wreak havoc on the U.S. economy in early 2020, the Fed stepped in, slashed interest rates to near zero, committed to buying more than $120 billion worth of Treasury and mortgage-backed securities every month. These purchases will soon be rolled back, it seems, and is what is referred to as, quote, a taper. You've seen that term now floated around. Now, investors have long expected the Fed to clamp down on its monthly stimulus as the recovery was coming along nicely over the summer. But a disappointing August jobs report pushed those expectations back, rather. Wednesday's announcement was thus in line with what investors predicted, and the stock market continued its rally after it was published. The recovery has hit some roadblocks recently, especially with the Delta variant raging rampantly throughout the communities and states, particularly the South. It's leading to more infections, affecting people's willingness to be around others, thus also affecting spending and, spending money in small businesses and pouring money into the economy. So many economists begin to factor in the Delta variant into their winter forecast for the economy. So as the Fed, its projections see lower economic growth for 2021, with GDP, or gross domestic product, rising 5.9% compared with 7% projected back in June. That is a substantial decrease. The growth rate for 2022, however, was revised upwards. That is optimistic to 3.8% from 3.3%. Now the problem is that we thought that the virus would have been behind us by around this time. We thought surely we wouldn't have been wearing masks or being fearful and social distancing and all that around this time. If you told us back in the early days of the pandemic, probably no one would have believed you that it still would have been a problem at this point in present day. But that's not the case. You're seeing thousands of deaths in some cases daily, and we're essentially back to where we started. So although the Fed is optimistic for 2022 economically, nothing is for sure. We can't say absolutely that 2022 will be some standout year for the economy, especially with the virus still running rampant and infecting our communities and people dying on the daily. The Fed now also expects unemployment to be slightly higher at 4.8% than previously thought at the end of this year. Similarly, inflation will also likely be more than projected in June, with the Personal Consumption Expenditure Index at 4.2% for the year, rather than 3.4% as previously forecasted. This will have a huge effect on the Fed's policies, given that the central bank's job is to keep prices stable and employment at the maximum. With inflation likely to be more elevated for a longer time, the bank will have to rein in its policies to keep that sector of the economy from overheating. That is for sure. Yet, so unemployment is certainly a factor in the Fed's decisions, Mario. But I believe you're referring to, if we're specifically talking about unemployment in this stream, we're more talking about the Fed and stimulus and its fiscal policies for the remainder of this year and for 2022, and its projections and what the chairman thinks. So, Jerome Powell said at the news conference today that the test for inflation is already met. The test for employment is, quote, all but met. He said, quote, for me, it would not take a knockout great September employment report, even though other members of the policy committee still wanted to see further improvements. Investors have long expected the Fed to clamp down on its monthly stimulus. As we've talked about, there are still some roadblocks ahead. The economy and the market need to overcome these hurdles. In Washington, the debt ceiling debate is heating up as lawmakers try to find a way to keep the government from running out of cash. This is very akin to what happened at the end of 2020, when we thought a government shutdown might be looming. It's a very tense time, very fearful time, great deal of turmoil in this country at the end of 2020, with the stimulus and passing that bill to avoid and avert a government shutdown. It's very eerily similar. We're pretty much back to that time as well. A lot of deja vu happening in these times. Powell said that, quote, it's just very important that the debt ceiling be raised so that the United States can pay its bills when they come due. He added that the damage to the economy and financial markets would be severe if there were such a default, that's for sure. Nobody should assume that the Fed could fully protect the economy against such a failure, he had added. We don't want the government to be shut down. That would definitely hurt our federal workers, especially during these times, and they can't really necessarily fall back on unemployment as the federal unemployment programs have ended. Many economists have begun to factor in that Delta effect, as they're coining it, into their winter forecasts. All the economists and the Fed itself see lower projections for economic growth for 2021. Again, unemployment will be slightly higher previously than expected. Spikes in inflation over the summer fueled the market view that the Fed would soon rein in its easy money policy sooner rather than later to keep the economy from overheating. So unemployment, again, we'll briefly touch on that. We're seeing the numbers now. We're seeing the reports come in that after the pandemic programs were cut off, it's not like, magically everyone returned back to work. And we predicted that many, many times on this channel in regards to, what we're talking about in regards to inflation, right? Inflation, that could certainly lead to a massive COLA increase. When you look at what happened decades ago with high inflation in the 70s and 80s, that led to very, very substantial COLA increases for Social Security recipients and federal benefit recipients. And that announcement will be coming soon. So we'll certainly have more updates to come on COLA and the boost that we can expect. These last few months were critical in regards to the COLA boost, the potential COLA boost, because with very, very high inflation, that would lead to a very high COLA boost as it's relative. Now, many argue and many advocates argue, especially our elderly, that the COLA boosts are still not enough because they just simply cannot keep up with the massive soaring inflation and high cost of living. And you're seeing it at the grocery store, you're seeing it at the gas pump, you're seeing these ridiculously high prices historically that we need to change the way that COLA is calculated, and we need to change that formulation so that way our elderly and our seniors can depend on their Social Security benefits. And now, when you look at the reports that they may not even be able to depend on them because the money might run out. You've seen those reports. We covered it on this channel that by, in the 2030s, the money is expected to run dry with little to no money left. So that's very scary, and we'll have to see what happens if Congress acts on that. But that's a whole another conversation for another stream. Let's see what Ruth is saying here. For sure. Yeah, the president, he's been pretty absent from a lot of this conversation. Right now, he's meeting with foreign leaders, and we've seen him pretty absent in many areas, whether it's the border, whether it's the looming government shutdown, whether it's unemployment. Many areas he's been pretty silent and absent. And you gotta wonder, is he really running the show? Who's really running the show? Someone pulling his strings? Who's making the decisions here? You really got to think about that, because it's pretty evident that he's not really running the White House right now, and there's other people that are really doing his job for him. And the president has more so just been a mouthpiece for a lot of those people, potentially. Maybe I'm wrong. But the president has been rather absent from a lot of these topics and discussions. We'll have to see what happens, come time 2024. Right now, the Democrats are worried about the midterms, so hopefully they can, as we talked about, in order to boost their chances to do well in the midterms, hopefully they can get that expanded child tax credit permanently reinstated. Hopefully that doesn't run out in December, cold. Maybe unemployment programs can be reinstated. We've talked about that. Maybe potentially room for more stimulus. The Fed is not done, with pumping money into the economy, but that could soon change, as we've talked about with Jerome Powell's recent comments. But there is some room for more stimulus, and the Fed is not stopping purchasing assets and certainly pouring money into the U.S. economy. So that is essentially what we talked about in the last live, plus a little bit more. Again, I apologize for what happened in the last live. I got cut off. Apple products. Sometimes you hate them, sometimes you love them. But oh yeah, for sure, that is true. Agreed. But that will pretty much wrap it up in regards to what the Fed is doing now in regards to stimulus. We'll certainly see what happens, come time with the winter, and if their projections do hold up, we'll see if Jerome Powell's forecast ultimately ended up being correct, and if economists were correct, or maybe we'll have a surprise fourth quarter of the year, and we'll finish the year pretty strong economically. So we'll see what happens. But little thread there. Was that on me the entire time? Oh boy, that's all right. Hopefully, you guys notice that. But that is going to wrap it up. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this live stream. If you did, as always, give this video a massive banging thumbs up. Would appreciate that. And if you want to get more content and see more videos on this channel, as always, go ahead and subscribe. Click that big red button and that notification bell. Very important to have notifications turned on. By the way, we'll be doing our next cash giveaway at 20,000 subscribers. So if you haven't heard, or you don't remember, or maybe you're newer to the channel, we did our first cash giveaway at 10,000. Next one will be at 20,000. Make sure you refer your friends and all that. Get you guys subscribed, so that way we can do that cash giveaway sooner. Next one will be at 20,000. And if you would like to get some free stocks, all on me, all free, go ahead and use those links down below in the description. Sign up with Robinhood and or Webull and get some free stocks. Some value up to thousands of dollars, all free money just for signing up. No gimmicks, no obligations. And if you want to connect with me on social media outside of YouTube, I'm on Instagram at Logan Cohn, LoganKohn. Hope you enjoyed this stream. Hope you enjoyed today's live. Look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Take care for now.